As a songwriter, musician, and a performer, I always seem to be searching for some sort of a connection. Connection to what I could see right in front of me. Connection with my environment. Connection with nature. Connection with my audience. And a connection with people. But at the same time, I find myself searching for things that I can't see. A spiritual connection. An existential connection. A deeper connection to the core of my own being. And ultimately a connection to the truth. And all these connections, they play a vital part in what comes out of me as an artist. And the tool of my trade, well, that's my guitar. Shit! FedEx truck just pulled up. Here it is. Alright, how you doing?
Good. Now the band can let you win, huh?
What's that?
I said now the band can let you win.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've been waiting for this, baby.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Rob, right?
Yeah, Rob. Do I need
No,
to
you're
sign?
good. No, you're good.
I'm good.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you, my friend. You too.
All right, take care.
All right. Yeah. Howdy. It is a happy day today. I must say that aside from getting married, meeting the person of your dreams, getting a new dog or a new car, one of the best things in the world is getting a brand new guitar, and I just got mine right here. What's even better than getting a brand new guitar though, is I bought this guitar back in December and sent it to a wonderfully talented man out in Arizona named Dig ONeal. And Dig has a company called Sacredfirearts, and Dig's specialty is wood burning. He and I chatted for a good month or so. We figured out things that were important to me, and that stuff all ended up coming out in the design. And so here it is on this guitar. I'm just seeing it for the first time. So here we go. Let me open this baby up. First looks. Oh boy. Oh boy, she's a beauty. She's a beauty. Oh my goodness. Wow. 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 Can you tell I'm excited? Can you tell I'm excited? Dig man.
Hey, my friend.
How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, dude. Well, listen, thank you. God, I could spend this whole Zoom call just thanking you, because I am so happy with this guitar, man. This guitar is so freaking amazing. Amazing.
That's so good. That's so good.
It was a journey to get here, right? And it's funny how things happen sometimes. I sit and I look at this guitar and I'm like, how did this come about? And I remember all the steps along the way, and it's just awesome. It's almost like writing a song. Like you get to a place and you're like really happy with it, and you're like, how the hell did we get here? I don't know, but we did.
Well, I can tell you that from my end of the equation, the feeling is mutual. It's a really, it's a magical process when I work on one of these guitars. However, it's even more special when somebody is passionate about it and involved with it like you are. Like, I've literally had people who are so hands-off with it that they're just like, you listen to these songs and I'm out of it. I don't want to be involved. I loved working with you because of you had a clear vision. And even though your vision changed, like at first it started with references to Franti's design, and that was relevant, but it manifested differently over time as we discussed and evolved and did drafts. And not only did you nail it, but it makes you feel good inside. And I feel like when that happens, that's the joy. That's where I find such joy in what I do.
Well, you certainly did that because, like you mentioned, I came across your work, and right away I was like, man, I just love everything Dig does. Let him I don't want to get in the way, just do something really, really cool. And you know, you were like, well, I'll tell you what, let's just talk. Let me listen to your music, and over some time, you know, almost like a therapist. I mean, you started pulling things out of me, out of my personality, and yeah, I mean, this stuff just sort of started, you know, to evolve. So I thank you for recognizing the importance of the connection that I wanted with this instrument, and not just doing something on your own and trying to pull those things out of me, because I look at this guitar now and it's exactly what I needed. I mean, I don't remember, I guess you know part of it, but this whole thing came about because I perform with two guitars. I need two solid guitars. I play hard, I beat on my guitars, not abusive, but I play hard, you know, it's very frequent, I break strings and stuff, and I needed to have two guitars that held up, but I also needed a really good connection with those guitars. And my guitar that I had, my number one guitar, is this Martin 0015E, and the minute I saw it in the store and played it, I felt the connection, just the mahogany, the old-time retro feel. It just felt right, you know. It's a little not as wide-bodied guitar, but it had a nice warm tone to it. And every time I play it, people would come over and say, man, that guitar sounds great. And so I had this connection with this guitar. My second guitar was a carbon fiber guitar. And I had purchased it because I don't like to keep my instruments in cases. I find that if they're in cases, they don't get played. So I hang them. If you could see here, I have guitars all over my walls and stuff. And I just love to pick them up. So the carbon fiber, and I'm not really super great at like temperature control, humidity. Believe me, I'm getting better at it now. I know I need to to carry these instruments really well. But the allure of the carbon fiber was that you didn't have to worry about it at all. You barely even had to tune it. It stayed in tune. Any humidity, you're in Arizona, I'm in the swampy Long Island, I could go back and forth, no problem.
Sure. Yeah.
So I love that aspect of the guitar, but when I would play it up there, and it sounded great, I just didn't have this sort of connection to it. And so I remember back when I was thinking, man, I would like to maybe sell this guitar or something, and I always liked how not only can you speak with a guitar with your music, but I always thought there was something special about how Woody Guthrie had wrote something on his guitar. You know, this machine kills fascists, right? Sure. Yeah. I mean, that made a real great statement. But that sort of sparked the idea, guitar art. Let me go online, let me Google guitar art. And when I did, I came across lots of things, but the wood burning, and that led me to your website. And once I started looking at the website and saw michaelfranti's guitar and all these things that you could do with pyrography, right? Pyrography.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Right, wood burning.
Yeah. Yep.
Which was when I just, on a whim, I was like, well, look, I'm in no financial place to do this right now, but I'm going to pick up the phone. And you answered right away. And one thing I remember is just the first minute we spoke, I don't know, it just felt like there was this sort of connection. You were super cool. I told you a little bit about myself. almost was like we were friends already from, I don't know. It was just very, very, very welcoming. And
it was a good connection right off the bat. I agree. I appreciated that right off the bat. And one of these days, I look forward to meeting you and giving you a big hug, you know?
Yeah, me too, for sure, for sure. Believe me, I had mentioned I would have loved to go out to Arizona and pick up that guitar myself, but with COVID and everything, I know that wasn't really possible. But it amazes me that people do guitars with you, and they really don't even speak to you. It's all through email. I mean, that I could see that in every other aspect of our lives these days, but. It's almost like this. It's almost like getting a tattoo. Could you get a tattoo with just emailing somebody?
Well, you know what? I don't know if you know this. I think you know that I spent 2 decades tattooing.
I didn't specifically know, but I kind of figured that your art came from that place.
Yeah, I've been involved in art and art classes in school since I was a child, but I spent 20 years tattooing, and not to like pat myself on the back, but I was tattooing at a high level, and I had a lot of clients who would come from all over the world. And it was really a very common occurrence to deal with people through email, predominantly only through email. So these folks would show up from Italy or England or Scotland or South Africa or wherever, and we would know exactly what we were going to do, because just like you and I, or just like when I'm working on a guitar, we finalize and we get it all drawn out and ready to go, so that when the person shows up, hello, welcome, let's get to work, and there's no, is this going to be the right thing, or is this the right design for me? It's very clear because we've communicated through email most often. And I don't tattoo, and I haven't tattooed for many years, but like you say, it was a good springboard to working on, going from human bodies to the body of guitar. And I have to say something. Guitar bodies, the art that I can do on a guitar body will far outlast the human body if it's taken care of, you know. These human bodies just don't last that long, and guitars can last for hundreds of years easily, you know, if they're taken care of. And that for me is rewarding. But another thing that's super rewarding about working on guitars as opposed to human bodies is that it's a large canvas that people are eager to think of as a whole canvas. Whereas with tattoos, I found that it was much more common that I had to kind of talk people into thinking of their back as a whole piece versus, well, I want to start with a little thing right here and maybe I'll expand on it in a couple of years. As soon as I hear that, I'm like, well, rather than starting with a small thing there and a small thing there and having to incorporate it all together somehow, let's talk about your big idea so that at least I know, even if we start with something small, this is where it's going to go. So the guitars, people are much more eager to be like, oh yeah, this is the body of a guitar, it's all one panel, you know, the front of a guitar. Let's work with it. Let's come up with something that really takes advantage of the flow and the form and the way you can take advantage of that shape. And it's just so super rewarding. I really, really appreciate what I get to do. And again, being able, like I keep looking at that guitar in the background right now, and I love that, in essence, you created that. I mean, not only did you create it, but you really nurtured its growth along.
I mean, look, you pulled it out of me, and thank you. And as long as we're looking at it, let's look a closer look here. Let's talk about it for a little bit. So this is a Gibson G-45, which is sort of a modern version of the classic J-45. And the J-45, as far as I know, goes way, way back to almost every guitar hero from country, western, and blues used this guitar at one point. It was the standard workhorse guitar, which is what attracted me to it, because I play hard and I needed something that could withstand my playing. But I couldn't really afford a J-45 these days, even though the J-45 was made to be a fairly not an expensive guitar. But these days, guitar prices are are all over the place.
Yeah.
But so I picked this up. It just felt right. It sounded right. So I knew it could withstand my playing. And I loved that it just had a blank canvas here. And so once I looked at your artwork, I was like, yeah, we're going to send this out to Dig.
And we didn't even know for sure what we were doing at the time.
No,
like,
we didn't.
Like,
that was
take the guitar. We're going to do something.
Yeah, I was sold on you and what you were going to bring to it. And we sent the guitar out, and then I think it was about a good month or so of us just talking, every couple of days and just making a little progress and getting, further. But this is where we ended up, and I love already. I played one gig with it, and people are just asking about it, and so it's nice for me to talk about it, because again, everything is sort of about myself. One person looked at it and said, "Ooh, scary." I'm like, no, it really isn't scary. Once you know the story, it's not scary.
Right.
So the snake, for me, represents getting over your fears, and we talked about this. I had an incredible phobia of snakes when I was a child. Always thought they were under the bed. When I had to go to the bathroom, I would take a running leap off the bed far enough that the snakes couldn't get me.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it was horrific. And I had an incident in college. Somebody came into my room, they introduced themselves with a snake around their neck, and I freaked out. And that was the first time I realized, wow, why am I so terrified of this thing? What is it about me or that thing that makes me... I mean, I didn't feel normal for hours after that guy walked out of my room. And long story short, I eventually, over time, forced myself to get over that fear of snakes. And then it turned into somewhat of an obsession. I ended up breeding snakes at one point, large pythons. I went from one extreme to the next. But the snake represents getting over your fears and facing your fears. The skull represents our precious time here on Earth, and it's limited. So this reminds me to live for the moment, live for the day, don't waste any time. Because at some point, we're all just going to be history. So that's a constant reminder for me to live, yeah, go ahead.
If I may interject, not even talking about the third symbol on there yet.
Yeah.
The archetypical, like the archetype of the snake is tremendous, as we know, and it has such meaning across the world and in so many different cultures. And in some places it's scary, some places it's not, but it's a powerful image. And the skull, too, has so much meaning. Like you say, it reminds us of our temporary and transitory nature. It reminds us how similar we all are. There's just so much depth to it.
Right.
And in my mind, it's not a scary thing, although it can be, depending on your perspective of your permanence.
Yep.
Like if you're afraid to think of the impermanence of everything, it can be kind of disturbing, shake you up a little bit.
Yep.
But I love it. And then, I'm sorry, go on, because you were describing each element of your...
Well, I love that you brought that up. I mean, look, in this day and age, gosh, I mean, still, after as far as we've come as human civilization, the fact that we still, are talking about equality and equal rights with humans, men, women, black, white, doesn't matter what, it's it's crazy. You know what I mean? We should be so far beyond that. And, you know, right below our skin, we're all the same, you know? And so there's that. There's so many things to talk about that have a lot of meaning about that skull. So yeah, the other thing, I guess there's two more things on here. One is the sun rays.
Yeah.
The
Real
sun rays.
subtle.
Might be hard to see in this light, but coming from the sound hole, there are rays.
Just depends on how it's tilted.
Yes, rays of light coming out of there. And the sun was important to me. I'm not a religious person, but I am a very, very spiritual person. For some reason, I don't know, I know it in my heart of hearts that people that I've known and even people that I have not known that are somehow connected to me in one way or another, in one life or another, have been looking out for me. And I've always felt that. And there's a special place that I spend some time in the summers, and the sun is just, boom, it's right there over the water. And I swear I look at that sun and I thank everybody that's out there looking out for me and my family and stuff. And so, you know, religion, I don't really know what I really believe, but I do believe that sun holds, you know, spirits of my past that are out there looking out for me. And so I wanted the sun to be featured in some way there. And so you did that in a wonderful way. And then the symbol is West African Adinkra symbol. And the name of this symbol is gyenyame, and it means supremacy of God. It means fear nothing but God. So that sort of played along with the no fear. So, you know, and again, even playing the guitar for myself, you know, I'm in my 50s. I picked this guitar up late in life. As you know, I had a whole other career, you know, in Manhattan, you know, making TV commercials, and I had a midlife, sort of had to close the company, and I found music, you know, in a midlife sort of situation. And I was terrified. I was terrified to pick that guitar up and go play in front of anybody, sing in front of anybody, perform. And so, again, along with the snake theme, it's even the act of me playing music out live in front of people is battling a fear that I had and getting over it. So I feel like I'm naming this guitar gyenyame. And there's one thing I haven't told you about. I wish we talked about it earlier, but I didn't know. But I started searching. You see this cover here, which covers the truss rod.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found someone that just has customized one. So I'm calling the guitar Gigi. Gigi for Gyenyame Gibson.
Right.
It's my no fear Gibson. But one of the people in my past who was very important to me was my grandmother, my father's mother. And she just no BS type of woman. She wasn't scared of anything, and she always told it like it was. My kids used to call her Gigi. And she passed a bunch of years ago, but it'll just be boom. It'll say Gigi over there. So just something to talk about. And it makes me feel good to play music to my grandma up there, you know?
You know what else I want to mention about that guitar that was important in our discussions? That was that there was a balance, if you will, between the symmetry of it and the asymmetry of it. You wanted something that had a symmetrical vibe overall, but that wasn't symmetrical. So it's really got that. It's balanced. It's very symmetrical, but it's not identical on both halves. Like you've got snake's head and you've got complementary shapes. Like I love the way the snake kind of curls up towards the top of the cranium. Yeah. But then the other side, the tail, kind of doesn't mirror it, but it kind of complements it with this like weird kind of cupping shape. I think it's just a beautiful, beautiful design. And the design is, I mean, you sketched that. You presented me with pictures of your snake on a guitar. You had sketched that out. I mean, there was just so much. Well,
don't let people get the wrong idea. I mean, you sketched it out for real. You know, we were just sort of brainstorming and stuff. And it's funny to look at those because you really just see the evolution of this thing, and it just really took shape in a wonderful, wonderful way. So,
what's your touring schedule looking like now? Like, what are you booked up? Do you have lots of gigs lined up? Are you planning a tour? Like, what's on the horizon now that we're kind of emerging from this pandemic state?
Yeah. Well, I'm not planning a tour. I don't, the music business has changed so much. Although I love the idea of touring and just getting in a car or a van and traveling around, to me it just doesn't feel like the most efficient way to go about growing the music fan base in this day and age. I do have dreams of doing that probably a little further down the road when I'm in retirement. I see myself, getting an RV and seeing the country and stopping at every root and bar and playing there. But for now, I am still trying to, I'm in a career change. Music is so important to me that I need to make a living out of music. And one of the biggest ways to do that is trying to get songs placed in TV commercials and film. And so I recently launched a new company called SmashContent, and I am really hand selecting and finding great music tracks from super talented indie artists around the world.
Nice.
That I think could work really, really well and have a great connection with a brand, connection between a brand and their consumers in a great, entertaining way. And so for the past few months, I've been in a lot of music circles, and I was in this sort of songwriting circles for a while, and I was just so impressed at a lot of the talent. And so, I built this company, and so I'm pitching every day. I'm in my basement studio 10 hours a day, reaching out to advertising agency, music supervisors, producers, creatives, and also people on the brand side, marketing directors, marketing officers, and all that. And I'm getting this music in front of these people. And, in this day and age, there are a lot of music libraries that just, boast that they have, thousands of songs and all that. That's really not what I'm about. I'm really about trying to find, it's a highly curated sort of list of songs that I have for that specific purpose. If somebody's just looking for a library, I'm not the person. I'm more of a boutique-y sort of little agency. When you're looking for a song that really is under the radar or something, but it's really good, because musicians have it so hard. It's so hard to really make money, but there is so much talent out there. And if I can get a musician's song in a TV commercial because what they've done connects really well with a brand, then that's great. They get paid, I get paid, everybody's happy. And so I'm spending most of my time doing that and getting this business, off the ground. And then when the gigs come my way, I take them, but I'm not spending a lot of time planning. That stuff just takes a lot of time to plan, all those gigs. But, I played down in Huntington at the Paramount. They have a private club that's in Huntington, Long Island, and the Paramount's a famous place, and they have a few different venues within there. So I just played there the other day, and that was wonderful. And I've got about a gig or two a week right now, just from not really trying. But those moments they're the best. There's nothing better than just playing, just getting my stuff out there in front of people and just going.
Yeah.
But the other thing, when you asked me about touring, and I was saying it just doesn't seem so efficient, is I've recently put a Twitch channel together. And from all the research I've done, Twitch is a big video game platform where people just play together and film themselves. Sure. But the music part of that platform has been growing exponentially. And there's a lot of great stuff on there. And so I've been spending the time trying to get my Twitch set up, looking very professional. And so I will be broadcasting a show on Twitch probably about twice a week. I should have been started doing it already, but some other things just got in the way. But very soon I'll be broadcasting at a specific time twice a week. And it's going to be a great show because we're going to talk about anything and everything that's important to me and my music. We're going to be playing originals, covers, just talking about stuff. We'll have special guests. And it's going to be great. So I'm very excited about it. And that gives you the opportunity to reach people all around the world that you can't reach just, driving, cross country or something. So
Please share with me your Twitch channel when we get off and you get a chance to send it to me.
Sure, will do. Will do for sure. So what's next? How many guitars do you have on your plate right now? How many projects do you have going on at any one time?
I can juggle. I'm used to juggling about 5 or 6 guitars at a time. And that seems to be about the most that I have at a time. Like, it seems like while I might have overlap, so I might have 6 or 7 guitars, it's usually 1 or 2 of those are getting ready to go back to their owners, and 2 of them might be in the early stages of planning a design, so it's a production line that I've got going, and I feel like I'm in a good rhythm of it, and I love when I have, like 5 is kind of the sweet spot where everything, it feels like I'm able to give everything due attention. If I've got 7, and the times that I've had more than 7, it's been like, oh, that's a lot, like how do I do this? And those are the times where I have to tell a client, this, normal turnaround is 3 to 6 months, but if I've got 8 guitars, then we might be looking at longer. And, it's interesting, I've literally had clients send me guitars and then fall off the map for a period of time. And then, I being me, and I'll follow up with people and say, hey, I just wanted to give you a gentle reminder that I have your guitar and I don't want you to think I've forgotten about you, when in fact, I haven't forgotten about anybody. It's like people have lives and careers, or I had one client who came to me with a project, and then COVID hit, and it really affected him on an emotional and mental level, and he had to kind of withdraw and deal with stuff. And I didn't hear from him for half a year. And then when I heard from him, it kind of got going, and then we created his artwork. So it's just interesting. People have their own pace of being ready to even think about their guitar, and your guitar took months of planning before I could even set my tools to the wood, and the prep and the finish. It all takes time. Just waiting for your guitar to cure took a month. And that is, talk about twiddling thumbs. It's like, it's hard enough for me when I don't have somebody who's like, Dig, when's my guitar ready? Dig, when's my guitar ready? But you were like, when's my guitar ready, man? And I'm like, I know, I want to get it to you.
I had a lot of trouble. I mean, I pride myself on trying to not bug you a lot.
Not me at all, but
man, I was just like, oh, I need it. Let me reach out again. I have this gig on this day. So be ready by this day,
Right? I know, it was great.
But good things come when you wait for them. And when that baby showed up, man, whew, I just lit up. And it's great. And it's just such a wonderful instrument. I'm so happy to have it. It's already a part of me, and I can't wait to see how because you have a relationship with these instruments. Already I've learned that I like to finger pick on this guitar.
Nice.
My other guitar I like to really hit hard, and I don't know if it's because I don't want to ruin the artwork on there. Right. There's no pick guard on it, right?
Right. It's right.
But I think that aside, I really dig the way it sounds just finger picking it and stuff. So I don't know if it's going to be one of those guitars that I, really pound on. But we'll see. Things change when you get to know your instrument over time. So.
Yeah, I hear you. And like you say, you have a relationship with the guitar already, inherently, because it's like you helped give birth to this guitar. You were really such an inspiration behind the guitar, and that's great. I imagine, and I think down the line, 10 years down the line, or whatever, 5 years, 20 years, when you really had a chance to play before audiences and tell your story through this guitar and have people come up to you and say, I love your music, and when I saw your guitar, it even made more sense, or it hit me on a new level. Because that's really, like, it's like this synthesis of energies with that guitar and your music and you, and your performance. It's like, it's your brand and it's your energy that's beaming out. And I can't wait to hear the stories that you have to tell. You know, I'm sure you will have some, you know, and it's going to be great that this guitar will play a small part in that. I consider it a great honor to know that, you know, and I'm grateful for that. Truly, thank you so much for.
Well, dude, I consider it an honor to be playing a part of this, your artwork here, and having it be a part of my image. It's just amazing. I love you, brother. I love you from the first day we spoke. We connected, and I'm just super happy. So, yeah, the story keeps getting written with this guitar. It will. So.
Well, it sounds like you might be ready to go. I'll tell you one more little thing.
Yeah.
This is a guitar. I think you'll appreciate this story.
Yeah.
There's nothing fancy to it at the moment. It's a Telecaster, basically, form that I got, and I've been reworking a little bit, like I've reshaped it a little bit, but pretty much it's the way it came to me. This guitar was a project that was begun by a gentleman by the name of Lou Alvarez. And the name didn't click for me at the time, but Lou Alvarez was a first responder to 9/11. He was a police officer, and he responded the day of, and he basically spent the next 3 months on site. And as you know, there was a lot of complications that occurred to people who were first responders. And Lou became a prominent face of the first responder. There's I don't even know what it was called, but Jon Stewart, the comedian, was active in it. And
yes, I remember seeing him talking to Congress and everything about it. Yeah, he was awesome for the first responders.
Yes, and Lou was his buddy. So in all, like a lot of the pictures that you'll see of Mr. Stewart talking to Congress, there's Lou right beside him. And Lou died of cancer. That was a complication attributed to the everything that happened. And before he died, as he was going through treatment, he began to woodburn. And he began to woodburn this guitar for his brother. His brother somehow found me several months ago and sent me pictures of this, because this before had a big lion here. And he sent me pictures of this, and we started talking, and we connected. So he sent me this guitar to rework in his brother's name and his brother's honor. And so I'm sharing this with you because I think you'll appreciate the depth of that, because your own guitar has this great depth to it. A different story, of course, but this is the kind of thing, this is another example of the kind of thing that makes it, for me, so incredibly rewarding, and makes it, each project I want to treat with the utmost respect and the utmost care and the utmost love, because, again, especially when I really get to communicate with somebody, I feel that. I feel the love pouring from the person, and I feel like it's hard sometimes to even feel worthy of trying to capture that, but then that inspires me to do my damnedest, to do my best to do that, you know. And it's like, it's always a reminder that everyone's got this powerful connection with their instruments, you know.
Absolutely. So when Lou was woodburning, did he woodburn on that guitar?
Yes, he did. He had started something, but because he hadn't removed the finish prior to that, I couldn't save that.
I see.
That design that he started. And plus, his brother wanted it to be refined and added to and expanded in a way that his brother felt I could do justice to. So we're going to do a lion, but a completely reworked, well, somewhat reworked lion, but make all this three-dimensional, really cool stuff on it. So, you know, it's always a process, and whether it's your guitar or Michael-Franti's guitar, and he was very involved with the creation of his guitar, or, you know, it's so sweet. It's such a powerful experience, and again, I'm grateful for it, and I'm grateful for you, and I can't wait to see you and the guitar performing together. I've yet to see that, so I'm waiting patiently. Now I'm going to be contacting you. I'm going to be like, hey, Rob, do you have some video?
It's going to be happening real soon, for sure. And I'm going to send you the Twitch address, and you know, and it's just about summertime now, so now's playing time here out in Long Island. Everybody's been sitting at home in the freezing cold, and with the sort of COVID restrictions loosening up and all that. Man, a lot of musicians are just really gearing to play, and so I think this summer is just going to be a wonderful time for music in my neck of the woods and in a lot of places. But before we go, I'm going to show you the next project we're going to work on, which is, I'm not ready for it, but since you pulled out that Telecaster, hold on a second.
Okay.
You know, when we first jumped on this Zoom call, you had said, "Oh, is that Springsteen in the back there?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure is," because he's somebody that I found in the 80s, and the music just connected with me in a way that no other music ever connected with me. And I was, you know, going through some tough, troubled times back then, and his music really, you know, saved me. And I didn't really know much about guitars at that point, but I was on a vacation in Florida, and I always liked to walk into the pawn shops, which they never had in New York, where Florida was big on, you know, people pawning instruments and guns and stereos and all that stuff, and I just found it fun to walk into places and look around. But when I saw this guitar, it made me think of Springsteen just because it's a Telecaster. This happens to be a 68.
Nice.
And somebody did some work on this thing, and I didn't even know enough about the guitars to analyze it enough. And I ended up getting sort of swindled. And you know how it's funny how I can't remember what I ate for breakfast or when my wife tells me to put my laundry away, but I'll never forget the look on the face of the gentleman that sold me this guitar. I think I paid $400 for it, which wasn't bad, right? But what he knew and what I did not know is that when I got home and I took this pick guard off, that somebody wanted a humbucker P90 in there, and the guitar didn't have the route for it. So somebody did sort of a Frankenstein botch job on putting that in there. So I was angry. And then I also found out that they used like regular polyurethane, and the whole guitar was just a mess. But there was just something about that wood grain Telecaster, even though Springsteen plays an Esquire neck and a Telecaster body, it doesn't matter. It was close enough, it reminded me of it.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the frets were worn all the way to nothing. So I'm like, I paid $400. I did not have a lot of money, and I'm like, God, I need to redo the frets. That cost me $400. You know, I had to take care of a little bit of the body, you know. But still, I was kind of upset about this purchase. But through the years,
did you get the routed channel around the pickup addressed, or
nope?
Okay.
Nope. I just left it, and one of the reasons I left it is, even though the guitar is like you know, a pickup truck that has parts of a Chevy and a Ford and just all sort of glued together, the guitar sounds great, and I didn't want to touch it. This guitar, I have a couple of Telecasters and stuff. This guitar has such a variety of sounds, you know, from that humbucker and then this sort of screaming single coil. It's really, really great. But I always thought one day I'd take this pickguard cover off, fix the botch job under there, route it properly for the humbucker, you know, and just because, you know, I want it to be sort of solid. It bothers me that it wasn't done right, you know. So one of these days, being that you just pulled that Telecaster out, and because again, when I saw you first work, I didn't even realize you did other guitars except acoustic guitars, but it's wood grain. It needs a little bit of work, and it needs a little bit of, I don't know, something else on it. We'll figure that out down the line. But one of these days, I might be shipping this baby out to you. We'll figure it out.
Good days, right on. Yeah, I look forward to that. I have an electric project that I'm working on right now. Do you know who Stanley Jordan is?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
His guitar is back there somewhere.
Man, Stanley Jordan. I mean, I remember the first time I heard him, and you know, you're like, is that guitar? What is he even doing with that? The way he, right? He's just banging on strings and it's almost like he's playing the piano on the neck of the guitar. It's crazy.
I know, right? Yeah, I saw him for the first time on, I think, Johnny Carson when I was like 16 years old. And I was blown away. It was he did Stairway to Heaven and Eleanor Rigby on Johnny Carson.
Right.
And I was
Eleanor
just
Rigby.
like, I didn't know anything about guitar.
Was he a kid? He must have been a young kid back then.
I mean, he must have been. He must have been in his early 20s, or I don't know. I don't know how old he was, but he was on Johnny Carson, so he must have had some level of success at that point.
Right.
But
Right.
I was blown away, and I've appreciated and followed his career since then. Not super close, but enough to know that he's a maestro and just a genius at his craft. So when he contacted me, it was 6 months ago probably, to do this project, I was like, oh, heck yeah, I don't know what it is or what we're gonna do, but yeah, let's do something. I'd be completely, again, excited to do that one too.
Oh, I can't wait to see how that's going to come out. So,
yeah, it's another electric project.
What does he play? What guitar are you going to work on? Is it?
I will show you. Hold on 1 second. I don't know the manufacturer of this guitar, but this is his guitar. And this is what I'm gonna, and actually it has an inherent challenge in it with this dark wood. So I have a general idea of what we're gonna do, but I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna address this area. We figure it out. Just because the pyrography won't show so well on this dark area.
Right.
Versus lighter wood, it'll be fine. So
It looks thick. Is it heavy?
yeah, it's pretty, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Almost looks like a bass guitar body or something like that.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, I know, right?
Beautiful.
I'm excited.
Well, you're the man, brother. Thank you. Thank you very much
Thank you.
for giving
Oh,
me
my
this
pleasure.
beautiful gift. So we will talk soon, okay, my friend?
Good, let's stay in touch. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Ditto, my friend. All right, take care. Be prepared for a whole bunch of people calling you after I put this video together.
Okay, I can't wait to see it. And send me your Twitch link.
You got it, brother.
Have a great evening. Thank
Okay.
you, thank you, thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.